All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to you, wherever you are in this beautiful world. Welcome to our Inner Circle Live pre-New York session. I'm your host, Ryan Carthage. We'll be joined shortly by my awesome partner, Mr. Benny Allen. Hope everybody is doing well today. Give me one. All right, cool deal. So, as always, let's turn off all distractions, grab a pen and paper, let's take lots of notes, and let's make sure that we participate and engage. All right. Let's hop over to our credo. Let me just check one thing. All right. And our credo. So, boom. All right. Accept all possible losses before entering trade, preparing for any outcome. Center yourself, mind, body, spirit, ensuring a balanced approach to trading. Trust in your education, strategy, trading skills, and intuition. Imagine your trade successfully materializing. Obey your trading strategy, avoiding decisions based on greed and fear, and never looking back, stopping once your trade has commenced. So let's center ourselves, let's focus, and let's get to work. All right. Let's hop over to trading economics. We'll get caught up. Had a day off yesterday. There were some issues with the charting platform, so we will get caught up on the happenings from the past couple of days, and we will take a look at trade setups that we had coming out of the weekend and see how those are playing out and see what's available for us this morning. All right, so let's get over there and do our thing. Drop me one in the chat if you can hear me okay. Just making sure I got some interesting looks. All right, cool deal. So one second. Not that there. All right, so German industrial output contracts for the fourth month in a row. Germany, the largest player in the Eurozone. Output fell 1.6% month over month, the fourth consecutive month of contraction, the worse than forecasted for a milder 0.4% decrease. Then we had, we'll look at the calendar too, because we can go back through all of the updates. But actually, that's pretty much it for there on the current updates. Over to the calendar. Going back to Tuesday. All right, Monday we had Reserve Bank of Australia rate statement. They held the rate the same. However, their narrative was a bit hawkish, right? It stated that they if they needed to, they would discuss potential rate increases. So it was more of a hawkish tone to their conversation as they're looking at some of their numbers. So we'll continue to monitor the narrative coming out of Australia and see how things start to shift a little bit there. And you'll see that we got Aussie pairs running to the upside a bit. So so that happened on Monday. We also had ISM services PMI for the dollar came in above expectation, right? So the the data for the dollar has been coming in pretty hot, right? Coming in pretty hot. So something for us to watch and pay attention to um, as we move through the rest of the month, uh, preparing for the what what conversations could come from Fed representatives. We have quite a few of them coming to the microphone today. So we'll watch and see how those conversations go, seeing as most of the recent data has been relatively above expectation and hot. So um, that will be something for us to pay attention to. Then we had on Tuesday, um, I didn't take a look at this statement here by Governor Macklin, but last night we had New Zealand employment change and unemployment rate. Both of those came in above expectation, right? So we'll watch to see what's happening with the New Zealand dollar and if they start discussing rate cuts and things of that nature. All right. So those came in above expectation. And we had construction PMI for the pound above expectation as well. And IB PMI data for Canada, which also came in above expectation. Okay, so lots of data that's coming in above the expectation level. So we'll have to watch and see how things continue to evolve over the coming weeks, and as those representatives come back to the microphone and continue to have conversation. All right, moving into today, we had unemployment rate for the Swissy came in at expectation. Then there's that the German numbers, foreign currency reserves for the Swissy. They started buying more foreign currency reserves than previous, right? We know a couple months ago they were selling off their reserves, and now it looks as they're starting to buy some of those back. So we'll watch and see how that moves the Swiss franc and the Swiss crosses as we go through the rest of the month. Later on today, I said we have quite a few speakers coming to the microphone. So a couple FOMC members at 11 and 12:30. Then we have 10-year bond auction at 1. Tonight, we Bowman at 2 o'clock. Then we have China CPI and PPI coming in at 8:30 this evening. And then tomorrow we got unemployment claims for the dollar. Okay, so lots of back and forth. We'll continue to watch the data and see how things come out and see how these conversations start to happen and start to evolve with the data that we do have available. All right. Questions from a fundamental perspective. VIX, we'll take a look at it. Take a look at it, see where it is. All right. No other questions other than taking a look at the VIXy. Cool deal. All right. Let's let's go and take a look at the VIX and see what's happening there. Down, down. So the VIX is the volatility index. And when it is below 20, we're in more of a risk on environment. And when it's above 20, we're in more of a risk off environment. So starting to make that shift, right? I'm sorry, I'm not starting to make this shift, but we're moving, continuing to move down, right? And it's been pretty low for quite some time. Pretty low for quite some time. So look at that. All right. Month of February. And you see we haven't broken 15. So, and then going back to October, we've just been in these low ranges, right? So we'll continue to monitor this and see how it evolves, but we're pretty risk off right now. I'm sorry, risk on, right? risk on right now. I'm sorry. Um, so we'll continue to monitor and see how things go here, right? See if we get some more upticks in our commodity currencies. All right. Cool deal. All right. So let's hop over to, I'm sorry, Benny. Good morning, bro.
Good morning, Ryan. Good morning, everybody. How are you, Ryan?
I'm doing well, man. How about yourself?
Doing all right, man, considering.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Glad to be here, my man. Good- Yep.
Definitely, dude. Definitely. You guys are definitely in our prayers, man.
Yeah, appreciate it. Uh, Never bet against the Fed, eh?
Never bet against the Fed, bro.
Yeah,
Never bet
they
against
got
the
it.
Fed, bro.
They said what they were gonna do, and they're holding the rates, right? So long for six rate cuts, seven rate cuts, whatever they're talking about, right? They said they weren't planning to cut early, and they haven't cut. So definitely
Yep.
don't see one coming in March or anything like that. So just continuing to follow the Fed's guidance because they continue to be right. I mean, stemming even through last year, this whole thing, with uh, in regards to the way they raised rates and now how they're projecting their cuts, they've been fairly right. So I tend to side with the Federal Reserve and the rest of the central bankers.
Yeah, man. I I'm with you on that. I'm with you on that. They they said what they were gonna do and why, and it's definitely turned out that way. It's definitely turned out that way.
Yeah, and they've been I guess is they're they've made greater efforts over the years to become even more and more transparent with what they're doing and that it seems like they've been you know I mean it's not like I've been trading for 20, 30 years, but it seems like they've been pretty transparent to me.
Yeah, they've been and people get on them because they say in the past they've waited too late, right? But they've stuck to their guns and they've said this is what we're gonna do, and that's what they've done, man. Definitely been transparent about their thoughts and in the action. So I'm in agreement with you, man.
Yeah, I forget it was one major investment firm, um, and I forget who it was. I was listening to Bloomberg yesterday, but they completely took their whole recession projections and rate cut projections. They pretty much dumped it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I have to find it because it was in an article also. I was listening to it on XM yesterday, and then there was an article that I found about it too. I'm gonna go back and find it again. But yeah, they completely see it. I guess they threw in the towel when it comes to trying to go against the Fed and what they've been saying all along. But yeah, they completely changed their tone. So yep,
The economy has been resilient, man.
has been.
As they continue to hold rates higher, the companies are they're hanging in there, man. They're hanging in there. So we shall see. Uh, we shall see how things go, man. Joy, what do you mean? Was it the Aussie? What do you mean?
What Benny was just talking about. I'm sorry, I remember hearing something, baby, because I had it planned yesterday, and they were saying that they wasn't sure about their rates and they was betting against something. I want to say they was talking about Aussie at the time. There was a lady on.
It might have been. I mean, they were talking about New Zealand as well. But it's pretty much been the same across the board, in regards to holding rates where they are, for longer, um, before cuts, before thinking about cutting. So it just looks like across the board, for the majority of your major central banks, they're not looking to make any moves early part of the year. So it's like they're not going to raise them, but they're not going to cut them right now either.
Yeah, yeah. So we'll continue to monitor. we'll continue to monitor and see how things go. All right. Any other questions from a fundamental perspective? Nope. All right. Cool deal. So let's rap about this dollar. DXY, right? Last week we had price push to the upside in a great way, right? And we got this little stall a little bit through Monday, and now we're getting a retracement. Okay, we're getting a retracement. Come back to 382. This is on the 1 hour time frame. So we'll see what happens. We had a daily level of resistance there or support, right? So here we are on the one. Let me fix this. I'm sorry, and this is the daily, not the 1 hour. Well, there we go. All right, so off the 80-20 move back to the upside, came into a 50% retracement. This was a resistance level here, right? We broke above that level, and now we're pulling back. Okay, now we're pulling back. So we'll watch and see how this retracement plays out. We broke back below that daily level. We'll see how we close on the day. Coming into the 4, see that just a little bit closer there. See the pullback. So we'll continue to monitor this move here and see how price evolves throughout the day. See if we get a little bit of a pullback and then a continuation to the downside on the dollar in this retracement, taking back some of that move, some of that strong bullish move that we had, potentially coming back to this support level here. Right. So we'll watch and see how the dollar evolves throughout the remainder of the week, really, in this retracement phase that it looks like we could be going into. So that got taken out. We'll run a fib off below. And that hit the D extension. So this retracement then makes sense, right? We hit a D extension on the fib to the upside. So now that new fib, whenever it pops in, will look like this. And that's our retracement. All right. Similar to what we saw in that 1 hour time frame in this pullback here. So we'll see how things continue to move here. See if we get, like I said, a deeper retracement back into the zone, and then see the dollar continue pushing to the upside potentially there. All right. So that's the DXY. Any questions there? No? Okay. Cool deal. Let's come out of here. And let's do a quick update on pairs that we posted coming out of the weekend. So first one is this this dollar yen. We had a play on the 15-minute time frame, 80-20. We started to make that move, right? We had that consolidation early Monday, Tuesday, and then we saw the drop off start yesterday, right? Strong move to the downside, about 100 pips or so. We still haven't gotten to that 382 yet. Now we're looking at a potential pullback, and then we'll see if we get a continuation to the downside here, right? So we're watching this move here. Looking for price to pull back potentially back into the zone 618 level or so, right? And then have an opportunity to get back short, taking us to the support level, and then then to that at least at 382 level, right? So this one has already been on the move. Hopefully some of us were able to take advantage of that, right? Off the high, that was 109 pips, right? So looking for a pullback and a continuation there on the dollar yen on the 15-minute time frame. All right, so there's the setup there. We'll continue to monitor it as we get to our TP levels, okay? You see here on this swing, right, here's a sub-fib 80-20 on this pullback. We'll see if we get that deep retracement there. As you drop down to your lower time frames, you'll see here on the 5, see that 80-20 a little bit cleaner here, right? Shallow retracement 118 and 127 zone, and now we're pulling back. Right. So we'll see it, like I said, if we get back to at least at 382, potentially deeper in the zone, and then look for a high price to get back short. All right. Questions on the dollar yen?
No, sir.
Nope. All right. Cool deal. Let's take a look at the dollar Swissy. Now this one on the this one was here on the 5. Scroll back. This setup was here on the 5. And you see, right, it was this fib, this second fib here. We pushed and hit the D extension. Okay. Now the second fib, as we're sitting and watching, shallow retracement 118 and 127 zone. So we have another 80-20 opportunity here that's setting up for us. So got stopped out on the first if you took the trade, but now we have a scenario here. Adjust this here. Boom. So if we get retracement on, whoops, we get a retracement on the dollar, right? Setup will look like that for this dollar Swiss. And what we'll see on a lot of these dollar pairs and dollar crosses are similar scenarios. All right. So 80-20 opportunity here. Let's see if we get on this this fib here. Benny talks about the alternating corrections, right? We didn't get the correction on that first fib, so let's see if we get the correction here on the move to the downside. Okay, so active setup here on the 5-minute time frame, 26 pips stop loss. TP1 is at 50 pips. Is that right? 45 pips. Just that. 46 pips to the downside is at TP1 level. All right, so any lower time frame traders, there's an opportunity for you to take a look at. If it meets your rules, go ahead and pull the trigger on that. All right. Questions on the dollar Swissy?
No, sir.
No. All right. Cool deal. NZD dollar. This one moved beautifully, man. I didn't take this one, but NZD dollar on the 5-minute time frame, we had an 80-20 buy setup coming out of the weekly ritual, and we got to TP1, and now we're in consolidation. So this was a beautiful move to the upside. You see a push down through Monday, right? And that consolidation happening, and then we got the move to the upside, right? Didn't get to that D extension and the turnover and push long. Okay, so now we're sitting here at a high price. We'll see if we get a slight pullback and then a continuation to the upside here on this New Zealand dollar, right? So a lot of these lower time frame setups had some beautiful plays, okay? Some beautiful plays to the upside or to the downside, depending on the pair of the cross. So hopefully we're able to take advantage of some of these lower time frame ones, and we'll get to some of the higher time frames as well. Okay, so that was a beautiful setup there. Any questions on that NZD dollar? Oh, okay. Cool deal. It's pound Swissy. Pound Swissy on the 4-hour. We had a nice deep retracement, and Benny's been on this one, right? As we push down to the 618 retracement zone. This is a C to D move. Okay, 618 retracement zone pushed a little bit lower. Just wick that. Let's see the low
Yeah, then we.
here.
I was going back quiet. I think it might have just missed that 786.
939. I did just miss that 786. It did. It did. So
Yeah.
we're looking at a TP level here. Good eye on that, bro. But moving to the upside. So TP is 260 to the upside, not 195. But right, got the break and price continued moving long. Right. If price doesn't take out your A, it has no choice but to go your way. Right. So we're pushing to the upside here. Looking at this one continuing long. We got daily resistance there at 110,866. But we'll see if we can break through that and continue rising to the upside. All right. So that's what it looks like on the 4. If we come down to the 1, right, it had a similar look, 618 retracement, right? And the 1-hour D extension is right in line with this weekly level at 111. All right. But you can see the break a little bit cleaner here on the move to the upside. right? Or if you took the first break, you had a pullback and then a continuation long. Joy's in at 109,330. One on 9,330. Great work, Joy. Boom. Right? Great work, Joy. I love it. Drop Joy some sevens in the chat. Beautiful. Beautiful. All right. So continue to be patient and allow price to continue to move, right? Up 83 pips on the move to the upside. Okay. So we are moving long there on the pound Swissy. So we'll continue to monitor that one as well. And those Swiss crosses to see how these shifts are playing out. Okay. Questions on the pound Swiss? No. All right, cool deal. Let's take a look at this pound dollar. Um, we'll look at setup out of the weekend, but right now we have a setup on the 15-minute. We're just shy of the D extension here. Shallow retracement. We haven't hit the D extension yet. We got a swing high to form. So let's see if we can get price to turn over and continue making this move down. Like I said, if we get a retracement in the dollar, right? These crosses now, we could see these start to move to the downside a bit. Okay, so let's watch this one and see if we can get this move to the downside here. All right, TP1 is at 53 pips on the 15-minute. So we'll see that move to the downside there. Okay, so let's bounce back. We'll walk through this a little bit here, right? So on the daily time frame on the pound dollar, we haven't gotten to this 382 level yet. We just missed it on this wick down here, and we pushed long. So we've been in this consolidation for quite some time. Okay. And you see as we pushed down and pulled back, had another zone of consolidation. We broke that support level finally, and now we're pulling back into the zone. So it's a matter of what happens with the dollar. See if this turns over and starts making its way back to the downside in favor of the dollar. Okay. So we'll continue to monitor the longer term perspective as well. Coming down to the 4, you did get a 618 retracement here. Okay, so a little bit of back and forth, right? We've been in consolidation, and based on the fibs and the alternation between the daily, the 4-hour, and the 1-hour, we're also in a bit of consolidation as well. So we'll monitor the fundamental side of it to see how things continue to fall and what catalysts we get to push price in one direction or the other. Okay, so and Benny and I were talking about it yesterday. The market's still kind of trying to figure things out, right? Still a bit of uncertainty as the data has come in above expectation for the dollar, right? Originally, you had bets of 5-6 rate cuts for the year starting in March. That narrative has changed, right? Or changing as the data comes out. So looking at investors trying to figure out how this is going to play out, right? And trying to get some cues on the long term to potentially shift their perspective and shift their narrative and shift their money, right? Based on the longer term perspective on the rate cut situation and how and where they'll place their money in the short term and the long term. All right. So we'll continue to monitor that. So that's the 4-hour strong push to the downside. We're pulling back now. And so we'll see if we get a pullback and a continuation to the upside before we get a move back down to the downside, right? Kind of in that flow with the DXY. All right. So that's on the 4 coming down to your 1. Fibs got taken out in that consolidation. So we will run these off of this last high here. Boom. Right. And here you also had an 80-20 scenario, shallow retracement 118, 127. Didn't get to that D extension. Strong move to the upside. Right. Sideways a bit, and then we started to take off. So we'll look to see if we get a pullback and then a continuation getting to that 382 level on the 1-hour time frame also. This fib I missed. In my setup. So, but beautiful move nonetheless, right? Strong push to the downside. And we'll look at the 5-minute where we had the setup coming out of the weekend. and this pushed through that 118, 127 zone, took out the stop on the 5-minute time frame, but stayed inside on this 1 hour. All right. So now coming back, we looked at the 15 and that move there. So down on the 5, we had this scenario here. Whoops. So we had this 80-20 here with shallow retracement, 118, 127 zone, right? Pushed down to the daily support level on Sunday, looking to see if we could get price to turn over, and it didn't go, right? And so as you saw, those 3 or 4 1-hour candles push to the downside, there was that move to the downside, right? Took the stop out on the 1. We also had that second fib, continued impulsive move to the downside, also pushed to the D extension, new AB boundary, and then we got price to turn over, right? And so now we're running back to the upside. And we saw the fib on the 15, but also here's a fib on the 5 if anybody is trading down on these time frames, right? Shallow retracement, 118, 127 zone. See if we can get price to make this move to the downside, right? This is the 15-minute setup. The 5-minute setup, we'll move this over. Well, 5-minute setup is right here. Right, you can place your stop above the high or put it out to the D extension. All right, we've already got that swing high to form, and we got a nice little pullback here. So we'll see if we can get a continuation to the downside to 382. Boom. Okay. And right, if the momentum continues, right, that fit in that 15-minute fit plays out, we're already in that move to the downside, right? We could see that continue moving there. Okay. So that's the pound dollar from top to bottom. And there's your setup there on the 5-minute as well. Questions on the pound dollar?
And I had a question.
Yes, ma'am.
When we look at the opposite pairs, like like GU, and then we just did USD Sheffy, were we looking for a sell, and then we also looking for a sell on this one? How would you kind of like steer your bias? Look, even though the setups, are what they are.
Yeah. That's actually a good question. So on those, if we go back to like the dollar Swiss and the dollar yen, right? They had strong moves. Let's go here, dollar Swiss, right? This one is a little bit different than the dollar yen, but it had a strong move to the downside on this 80-20, right? And then it's pulling back. This one already pulled back. So this one will be a little bit iffy. I'd use additional confirmation here because if we do get that retracement with the dollar, we could see this one push a bit higher, right? Before it turns back over and pushes down. So this one, I add some additional points of confirmation here because it already made the strong pullback to the upside. So that's my thought there. If I was to trade this one, I'm not in this one right now. I am, however, in the dollar yen, right? And so if we get some dollar strength, right, this pullback, right? Because think about it, remember, we're on the lower time frames here, right? So this pullback would play out and we're getting price moving in favor of the dollar, which is price moving in favor of the dollar on the pound dollar, right? Price moving to the downside here. So we get this retracement, which is also that sub-fib retracement on the dollar yen, right? And this continued move potentially to the upside, getting us to some of these higher levels here, right? So that's how those would correlate as we're looking through those. Like I said, that dollar Swiss, that one could be a little bit iffy. So I had added some additional confirmation on that one if I was to trade it, because like I said, I already had that retracement. So it could continue to push a little bit higher if we do get the short-term dollar strength on these lower time frames. Benny, what are your thoughts on that?
No, I agree with what you're saying. And then it just depends on, how like these are all potential setups, and so it just depends on, your trade plan and how you actually want to trade it and direction you want to go. We know that, when we're uptrending, we're going to get corrections to the downside. When we're downtrending, we're going to get corrections to the upside. So these are all trade opportunities, right? Right. Ryan always says
Mhm.
you don't have to trade all of them. This is just us identifying trade opportunities. So like if you have, like, for example, on like that pound Swissy that's running to the upside, right? And looking at it from the 4 hour chart. So it's a longer term move. We know we're gonna have corrections. We're gonna find 80/20s along the way. Like there's like on the EJ one that we have marked up for a huge move. Um, if that moves 500 pips or so to the upside, there's going to be opportunities on the lower time frames where you're going to have an opportunity to trade it in the opposite direction for a correction play. So that's really comes down to the trader and what you prefer, to trade. The shorter term corrections, I'm in a trade that I'm out of it, faster when it moves back to the low price or moves back to the high price, depending on the direction. Or if I'm just gonna hold and use those corrections to the downside to add to my position. So it really comes down to, you know, just being in that discovery mode all the time, trying to figure out and master what I want my trade plan to look like as I look at these opportunities. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
Welcome. Welcome. Any questions? Any other questions on pound dollar or dollar yen dollar source? No? Okay. Cool. So that is that. Aussie dollar. Aussie dollar. So on this one, we'll go top down first, and then we'll get to the setup on the lower time frame there. But so daily time frame. Got a nice deep retracement. We've been moving to the downside. I've been looking at this. This right shoulder is quite a bit shallow, but I was hoping for price to pull back a little bit more, and we'll see how things transpire here. But potential head and shoulders pattern here. So we could be in for more movement to the downside here in favor of the dollar. We'll see how that plays out. But moving to the downside nonetheless, right? We broke the support level, we come back and retested that level. We'll see how deep that move goes, and then see if we turn back over and push back down to the downside here. Coming down to the 4, right? See that move down. We got a 382, push down, right? Coming down on the 1, we had this 80/20 scenario, came just shy of that 382 off the push before price turned over and made its way to the D extension, right? So I know some of us were sitting in this one trying to get to that 382 level. Didn't happen. Hit the D extension, which is cool, right? Now we got a new AB boundary and we're in this retracement phase here, okay? We're in the retracement phase here. So we'll see again, right? In this, we got this daily level that we broke and we come back to retest. Okay, we'll see how price continues to respond. So as we get down to the lower time frames, we had a setup on the, also that one 5 minute. They had a buy opportunity, which was, take the cloud off, which was here. Boom. Right? And you see here also, it ran to the downside, right? Shallow retracement 118 and 127 zone. This one also pushed to our stop, had a new AB boundary, and then we got a reversal. Okay, then we got that deep retracement. So that's another one that didn't play out for us, right? This one was a 30 pip stop there, hit the stop, and then we got the reversal. So now, as we currently sit, we're here. Shallow retracement, 118 and 127 zone, making lower highs and lower lows, trying to make its way down to this 382 level, right? This is more of a shorter term move already in motion, right? So if we, like I said, if we get that movement in favor of the dollar for a bit, right, could see this push down to at 382 at 65, 121. Okay. And then looking for a flip and a move back to the upside there. Okay. So that's the Aussie dollar. Here's the setup there. Like I said, it's already in motion to the downside. So we'll wait to see if we get a low price to then get back long, looking for a potential continuation to the upside if the dollar does start to fade off a bit. Okay. Questions on the Aussie dollar? Nope. All right. Cool deal. Euro GBP. Right. On the daily time frame, we're stuck, right? We're stuck. Try to push the upside, came right back down to the downside, not able to break through support levels, right? We're just stuck. So we'll see what happens as we continue to move. Coming down to the 4, we have our 80-20 scenario. Here we are, right? Adjust this one also there. Haven't gotten to the D extension in this consolidation phase, okay? Trend line, adjust to the outermost point of the consolidation. We'll delete that inner trend line, and there we go, right? So we're just ranging 80-20 still in play here, right? We'll see if we're able to get this pushback to the upside to start to make this move long. Okay. There's the 80-20 scenario that we marked up over the weekend. We're waiting to see that one come to fruition there. All right. We know this euro pound can take its time and bounce all over the place. So we will allow it to do what it does as it bounces all over the place. Okay. So that's on the 4. Coming down to the 1, you'll see that consolidation a little bit cleaner here. Cool. Right? So 4 hours where this setup is at. Longer term swing trade as the Euro GBP takes its time. So we'll continue to monitor that as long as we stay above the support level there. Okay. So that's the Euro GBP. Questions here? All right, set up on the 4 hour, looking for that reversal. Nope. All right, cool deal. I'm actually gonna. Not quite. All right. Cool. So that's the Euro GBP. Aussie CAD. Another lower time frame setup, but we'll start at the top. All right. Had this nice strong move to the downside through January, broke this daily support level, right? Down to a 50% retracement. Now we're pulling back a bit. Hold on one second, everybody. All right, my bad, everybody. So now we're came back, right? Daily, weekly support level here, right? Got a bit of a bounce. Got a bit of a bounce. We'll come down to the 4. You see that long move to the downside was an 80-20 on the 4, right? Came down to a 618 retracement zone. Now we'll see if we're going to be able to turn over and push back to the upside. Okay. So we'll continue to monitor this one and see if we're able to break above this 88.09 level. If we break back above that, we could be in for some more movement to the upside in favor of the Aussie here. Okay, so we'll watch that from a longer term perspective. We had a trade set up on the 5-minute time frame. Yep. So coming down to the 5, we had the setup coming out of the weekend, 80-20 on a buy, which was pull the cloud off there. Just move down here. All right. So this is another one where didn't play out on the first fib. Shallow retracement, right? 118 to 127 zone. We continue to trickle down to the downside, and then we started to get reversals to occur. Okay. Then we've got those up fibs moving to the upside. So this is another one that took us out on the stop, which is cool. Now we're looking at price moving to the upside here. Okay. And as we move through, this one's already moving to the downside. It did just miss that 382, but it's pushing back down to get there. So this one's moving back down to the downside. So this is another one, like I said, where the setup out of the weekend on the lower time frame, this one did not play out, right? And we got stopped out, and then it moved in our favor. Moved to the upside there. Okay.
Lower time frame is a little bit mixed coming out.
Yeah, it was.
Seemed to be a little early compared to some of the higher time frame moves that we're in that are moving pretty good. Those were a bit early, those setups. So like it made one more, at least like one more push down or one more push up before the correction. So
exactly.
Those smaller ones, the timing was just a little bit off coming out of the weekend. But yeah. Overall, still decent. We're what is this, Wednesday?
Wednesday,
still decent, especially holding some of the longer ones. So it's like that sometimes.
Exactly, it does happen, right? Especially if you are down in the lower time frames, right? It can be can put you in a little bit early. So adding those additional points of confirmation, be it support levels, higher time frame support levels, trend line breaks, cloud breaks, things of that nature. So just continue to be diligent if you're down on the lower time frames, taking these setups here. Okay. Questions on the Aussie CAD? No.
Nothing on that Aussie CAD, but that forever trade on the CAD Swiss seems to be moving in our direction.
Man, yeah, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
That's a good one if you've been holding it. It seems like it's starting to work out. So
that was on the what was that? That was on the 4?
Yep, that was on the 4. And that said it's still holding.
Still holding it. Beautiful. And was that the C to D? Or was that the move to the upside? Which one was that?
No, it's upside 80-20 on the 4 hour.
My fib's off on this one.
Yeah, you got to rerun your shorts.
Odd Swissy, cat Swissy.
Oh, cat Swiss. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah.
I was on the wrong one.
Catch.
Yep.
Good catch.
Thank you,
I didn't see that.
My bad. Yeah. Cat Swiss. My bad. It's finally moving, right? We come into this level 64,785, right? But we got our higher lows, trying to make some higher highs now, right? But we're pushing to the upside. Coming down to the 4, all right? We'll come all the way back. Look at the original fib. Boom. All right. It's taking its sweet time. You see the consolidation here. We got to push. Finally got an AB boundary. We got a 618 retracement. Now we're working to make our way to the matching day extension at 65,656, which will get us to that 236 level, right? So we are finally pushing long, finally making some progress out of the zone here, okay? Finally making some progress out of the zone. So we'll continue to monitor that one as it moves, but definitely this was in December when it pushed down into the zone, right? In January, it took its time. Now we're starting to get some traction to the upside here. I'm still holding this one in two of my accounts as well. So we'll continue to monitor that as it moves, right? Taking the sweet time, but we are slowly getting there. Okay, slowly getting there.
Hopefully by
Um,
Friday with the CAD news. It'll be there.
maybe, maybe, maybe we'll see. We will see. Right, come down to the one. Right, folks will trade the C to D's. Right, you had a 618 retracement there, and boom, pushing to the upside. Right, strong push, pullback, continuation. All right, so after we break this daily level, then we'll be off to the races to the upside there. Okay, so finally making some traction. Finally making some traction. Okay. Questions on the CAD Swissy. Kudos to everybody that has been holding this one. Drop some sevens for you. Taking some patience to make it through the scenario there, but we are getting there. We are getting there. Off the low here, right? That's 150 pips to the upside, right? That next D extension is 210. Okay. Kudos to you. So beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Let's take a look at some of these pounds. All right. Any questions on the CAD Swiss before I move on? No?
Nope. Yeah, that pound yen is continuing. So it made a correction.
Man.
I had it. We had it marked up originally on the multiple time frames, but on the 30 is
Mm-hmm.
where I had that set up moving.
Yep. It,
Um,
it moved
yeah,
beautifully.
a lot of the yen crosses, like if you use the cloud, a lot of them are breaking clouds right now. Oh, there you go. You got it. You got it already on the cloud on the one.
Yep. Yep. So, yeah, we're pushing back to the upside. All right. They're on the 1 hour time frame. See the move. All right. We had a breakdown with that 118 level there. Got a nice retracement to occur. Okay. Now we're pushing back to the upside. We broke the cloud originally, got a nice deep pullback, retest the level, and now we're pushing back long. Right. Strong move to the upside last night. Boom. Breaking the cloud. Still need a twist here. Right. But we got a TK crossover. Right. Need a Kumo twist for that confirmation on the move to the upside. We got resistance at 187, 283. And we need a breakthrough as well. But we're moving long. Moving long. Okay. Um, yeah, on the four, we never got into that 118, 127 zone before we made that move down, right? And now we're pushing back long. Now we're pushing back long. Again, Bank of Japan still standing pat on where they are. Things haven't changed. Okay. So makes sense for this one to continue moving to the upside. All right. We do have down on the lower time frames, if we get a retracement, add some additional confirmation here, right? On the 5, we got the cloud break, right? Here's our capital AB boundary there. This was the 80-20 on the lower time frames. Now we're pushing long, right? Strong move to the upside here. So maybe we get a pullback into the cloud and then a continuation to the upside. Okay, so watch for pullbacks and continuations here. Okay. Watch for that. So this is a sub fib 80-20 in the lower time frame. So they play out a little bit um less than the capitals. So just be aware there if you're looking to trade that one. Play with caution, add your additional confirmation and such there. Okay. But this was a beautiful move to the upside. I said this was the 5-minute 80-20 on that push to the upside there. Right. And that one ran out of the zone. TP1 was 768 pips to the upside, right? So for those that might be watching, scalpers, right? It plays out just the same. Plays out just the same on the lower time frames. Okay. Questions on the pound yen? Done it. It's still in. You look still into the upside. Done it. Yep. Beautiful. Great work. Great work. All right. Repetition is the mother of all skill, as Benny always says. All right. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. So that's the pound yen. Pound Aussie. We had on the 15. Take that off. We had this 80-20 sell to the downside here. Beautiful move down. And we had a pullback here. That one didn't quite push into the 118 and 127 zone, that sub fib, and then just continued to the downside, right, through last week. So now we're here and we're pushing back to the upside. I don't know why I had that one. I don't know why I had that one on my list for this week. That was last week. Oh, today's the 7th. Okay, yeah. So this was the sub fib 80-20, right? Pushed into the zone, didn't quite get there, right? Wick down and continue moving to the downside. So that one played out to the downside. Now we're moving back along here, right? So we'll see if we get some continuation on that move to the upside. As we come back, let's go back to the daily and just take a look at it overall. So we have a longer term perspective as well. We're caught in a bit of a range here, right? 618 retracement on the sub fib off the high, but here we haven't gotten to a 382 as well, right? So this one is a little bit back and forth. I'm curious to see how it plays out. We're hovering at this weekly level at 193, 376. Curious to see which one wins, right? What we get a catalyst for.
I got my appointment mixed up for 9 o'clock this morning to free.
What we get a catalyst for, right? Be able to push to the upside in favor of the pound, or do we turn over and make our way back down? So watching this one as well to see how it moves over the long term, right? Because we haven't gotten to a 382 on the daily, but do we push into these higher levels again? Maybe even give us a double top at 199, 644, and then turn back over and push down. So that's just my thought as I'm watching this one move, right? Coming down to the 4, we got a fresh AB boundary, and we're just sideways there at that weekly level. Okay, can't quite make a decision just yet. So now as we come back down to the lower time frames in that 1 hour, right here we are on the 1, and you see just sideways push. Okay, so we'll continue to monitor to see how things move. Okay, questions on the pound Aussie? No. Okay. Oh, last one is the Swiss yen. Because just like that pound yen, this one didn't play out though. Which one? Yeah, this one did not play out to the upside. Well, it did. Didn't get to the 118, 127 zone, right? This larger fib here, we had a shallow retracement, pushed into the 118, 127 zone, but just continued to fall to the D extension. Never gave an opportunity to turn over here, right? So this one's continuing to move to the downside. We come back to the higher time frames, we'll see we're starting to turn over on this one. Okay, from a weekly time frame perspective, we just missed that 118 level, and you see we're turning over. Okay, so this one I'm watching. I would like to get a pullback of some sort, right? Smaller maybe. We just wicked at 382 there on the daily time frame and pushing to the 118, 127 zone, but to see the move down here, right? Got a little bit of indecision this morning. Coming to the 4, we got an 80-20 here. Okay, we got an 80-20 here. We're pushing into the zone and we're making our way down, right? I'd love to see a little bit of a pullback because I'm not in this one right now, right? So it's selfishly, personally, if I can get a pullback, get a nice entry on this one, look for a move to the downside, and this one would be a longer term scenario, right? One of my smaller accounts, one of my smaller accounts, I am in this to the downside, but some of my other accounts I'm not. So starting to turn over. We'll see if this one kind of changes and gives us a shift before the other yen crosses do, right? So we'll watch and see how this plays out overall. Okay, but getting a pullback now in the lower time frames, we'll see how deep that goes. right? Potentially retesting this chart up here, right? On the 5, potentially just coming back and retesting this consolidation zone here. And then we could see this one just continue to the downside. All right, so we might get a push into the 618786 retracement zone and then just turn over and continue moving down. Okay, so that's one to watch from a long-term perspective on that turnover. Okay, so that's the Swiss yen. Questions? Our euro yen is trying to figure it out as well, right? Got 80-20 on the 4. Nope, no questions. Benny, anything before we wrap it up, bro? I might be getting the kids ready. All right, cool deal. Good people. Good people. You don't have to take all the setups, right? But the ones that fit your trading plan, pull the trigger, right? Pull the trigger. Patience pays. Patience pays, right? Continue to be diligent, continue to be patient, continue to engage in the community. Have a phenomenal Wednesday. Find your 1% today. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 6:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time with my awesome partner, Mr. Benny Allen. We'll talk to you then. Peace.
Thank you. Bye.
Have a good day, everybody.